Hey guys, this is Red666. Today we'll be watching another yet ghost video. So it's 12:49 in my clock right now. Today I'm home alone, and I thought that it would be an interesting way to get me really scared because I am told to be quite fierce. I'm never really that type of person that just gets scared easily, but let's just say that putting an earphone on, watching videos that is made to actually, shock you and make you scared. Anyway, let's just get to it. I know some people have already done this video, but I just want to do it myself because my reactions are not as their reactions. Trust me. So without further ado, let's continue this. It's called Almost 1 Hour of Scarry. Adjust my place.
It was about 3 in the morning, and I was on my way to my job at my local McDonald's to open with one of my favorite managers there with me. She told me to text her when I got there so that she could let me inside. Once I pulled in, I noticed a man standing outside of his car in the farthest corner of the parking lot. He was shooting me this sort of menacing stare. Let me point out that it's completely pouring outside. I was really confused as to why this guy wasn't just sitting in his car. I then parked and texted my manager to let me inside. Seconds later, I noticed her at the door opening it for me. Upon walking up to her, I say my usual good morning. I was stopped mid-sentence by her rushing me inside and saying, "Did you see that guy outside?" I told her yes, and she proceeded to help me refill sauces, napkins, and things like that. My manager then told me that she's going to check the security tapes just to make sure that everything during the period that the restaurant was closed was okay. Minutes later, my manager called me into her office for whatever reason. She told me to look at the screen, and it showed that the same man was standing outside. The time was 12:47. She then fast-forwarded the tape to reveal that the man had been standing outside the entire time up until now, and at this point it's about 3:50 a.m. I ran to the front lobby and I noticed him still standing over by his car. I figured, or was hoping, that he was probably just on something and he was waiting for us to open so that maybe he could get breakfast. I resumed filling sauces again and making sure everything was in working order, until I was abruptly interrupted by banging at the front door. I walked over and noticed a figure right outside the front door. It was the man. I yelled that we were closed and that he would have to come back later. That didn't seem to faze him as he continued to bang on the door. I walked away, figuring that he was just being an asshole, when suddenly I heard a loud crash.
This is how you bang, guys. Continuing.
I ran to the lobby to see the glass door broken and the man beginning to step inside. I yelled for my manager and told her that we needed to leave through the back door, and we did just that. We booked it to our cars and both called the cops. They arrived in about 15 minutes and came outside the restaurant with a dirty-looking man in cuffs. They said he was hiding.
Anyone reminded of Halloween? I'm reminded.
In the back janitor's closet with a large knife in his hand. So that's my story, and also the reason I'm never working early mornings again.
It was my first Halloween living in my own house away from my parents. I live in a small corner house with a basement.
I know about 3 YouTubers that does this kind of scary stuff. I know Creepypasta Jr. or something, and I know Mr. Nightmare, and the other one was Larry Muscat, and the first one was, I forgot his name, but I'm mostly commonly familiar with Mr. Nightmare because he was the first horror video film that I've ever watched, and this is one of his masterpieces. Continue.
But no upstairs, a house my parents paid half for. It was 11 o'clock at night. I was sitting in the living room watching scary Halloween movies when I found myself getting up to answer a knock at the door. But then I stopped.
Ew, the first character that comes actually looks like a bad guy. Who drew this? He looks like you haven't taken a bath for like centuries. Sorry about my voice.
stopped and thought, who could be at the door at 11 p.m.? Surely there were no more trick-or-treaters out. I had a pretty good feeling it was a late-night Halloween ding-dong ditcher, so I gave it a second, then I shot a glance to the porch through the window. They were gone already. Yup, ding-dong ditchers. I sat back down, not thinking twice about it, and again, knocking at the front door. Get lost, I yelled. I was not in the mood for punky kids. They ignored my demands and started pounding now, not just knocking. I was pissed now. I leaped up and swung the door open. No one was there once again. I slipped on my shoes and headed outside to begin searching the bushes for the kids, but there was nobody in sight. Not in the bushes, not behind my car, not across the street. I was done answering. I didn't want to feed into their fun anymore, so I went back inside, double-locked the door, and went to my bedroom, also locking that door, just to feel safer, I guess. Even over the TV, I could still hear the stupid kids pounding on my front door repeatedly. I was so close to calling the cops to get them away, but that would undoubtedly lead to my house being egged or teepeed. The pounding continued for an uncomfortably long time, more than half an hour. I thought these kids must be filming something for YouTube and were desperate for a reaction, but I wasn't going to give it to them. At some point I dozed off with the TV on, only to wake up to the knocking again. I looked at the clock. It was 2 in the fucking morning. How could those kids still be at it, I thought. I turned the TV off and sat up with my ears open.
That was a TV? I thought it was a window.
For a few moments, my heart completely stopped as I realized the knocking was not at my front door, but rather at my bedroom door. I jumped out of bed, looking around my room like a madman for something to use as a weapon. They knew I was awake now. They were trying the doorknob, trying to bust down the door. These weren't any kids. By some miracle, I came up with an idea. It was a long shot, but it was all I could think of. I turned on the receiver to my speaker system, plugged in my iPhone, brought up the YouTube app, typed in 45 gunshot sound effect, turned on the volume and pressed play. The sound of a gunshot echoed out of the speakers. It sounded real enough. I paused the video after the first shot and yelled, "That was a warning shot. Leave now or I won't hesitate to shoot you in the head." And it worked. I heard 2 pairs of footsteps stomping over my wood floors and out the front door. I gave it a moment before opening my bedroom door and peeking outside. They were gone, but the front door was left wide open. I quickly shut it, called the police, and that's where my story ended.
You know what? We should definitely do that because sometimes our YouTube videos can actually save people, you know? It's not just for entertainment, it's for education as well. And also, like we have just saw, it saves people from certain situations. So I'm gonna stop it here for now and I'm gonna keep on recording it. But if you want to know about it in the next video, you're gonna have to come and see me again. So you hear me and see me again in the next video. And thank you so much for watching, guys. And stay beautiful, my friends.